Just like sodium fluoride, lithium is a cumulative poison and builds up in the organs and the bones. And this guy, if he doesn't know it, needs to grow up. It's easy to sit around and put a tie on and be a control freak and sit there and boss us with his little lisping control freak voice. But it isn't going to work, Jack. You understand that? 1 part per million of sodium fluoride reduces the IQ by at least 10 points in a child, doubles their chances of bone cancer. This is so incredible. This is so incredible. Just everything is lies and distortions. Go ahead and start playing it again. Here's the video.
So the reality is these are very low levels, and there's no reason to think they're not safe in the areas they already are exist, so why not give everybody that benefit?
Okay.
Well, actually, it is the element. It's the ionic form of the element. Unlike many pharmaceuticals, which are complex compounds synthesized in laboratories, lithium is simply an ion that occurs naturally in the environment. I'm not a geologist. I don't know exactly the process by which the lithium leaches into the water, but it does. And I think it's also worth noting that the mechanism by which the lithium works in the body is probably very different in the treatment of diseases like bipolar disorder or mood disorders, mania, than it is in the much lower levels where it seems to prevent suicidality. And the theory is that very low or trace amounts of lithium enhance connectivity between neurons. And doing that over the course of a lifetime exposure makes the...
That's like saying that Ritalin's good for kids and Prozac is good for kids and Mercury is good. Remember, they'll just sit here and tell you this is good, and it's their choice, and they're going to put it in your water because they know best. And he says, don't worry, this isn't like what we give psychotics. This is a smaller dose for you. They're already drugging the food and water. Let me explain that again. They're already drugging your food and water. They're stealing the pension funds. They're imploding the economy. They're criminals. They're drugging the troops with all sorts of drugs. These are a bunch of control freaks. I cannot say it any clearer. Let's go back to him. Here he is. Why stop at lithium and other enhancements?
Well, I think the first thing to point out is that fluoride, which is widely available in the United States, the Surgeon General has determined that it is possibly the most cost-effective health intervention in the history of the United States, that it saves hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, per person in dental care over the course of lifetimes. And it's the reason why Americans tend to have very good teeth, and if you go abroad to some countries, people tend not to have as good teeth, with the same other dental hygiene care, because our fluoride protects our teeth, and there is no evidence that that fluoride, no credible evidence, does any damage. So this is an experiment that's been tried. I think the other most interesting area to look at would be in basic nutrients added to the drinking water to protect specific populations. A good example might be alcoholics, who are at risk of certain neurodegenerative disorders, for example, from lack of thiamine. And adding a trace amount of thiamine to the drinking water, if it could be done relatively cost-effectively, might prevent alcoholics from developing what's called Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. The other benefit of this would be every emergency room that treats alcoholics wouldn't instantly have to treat them with thiamine because they would know these people are exposed to thiamine. Not that different from adding vitamin A to rice.
Okay, there you go. And you can watch the video up at Infowars.com. We got a link over to Big Think where you can see it right there. We have to get out of our comfort zone. They're going to have these soft-spoken little creeps come out and put a bunch of spin there. And, you know, here's the article. Oxford professor calls for drugging water supply. We're posting all of this up at Infowars.com, a separate professor. And he says fluoridation is the tip of the enhancement iceberg. It's an enhancement to brain damage you and give you cancer. Science is progressing fast to develop safe and effective cognitive enhancers, drugs which will improve our mental abilities. And he goes on, a new generation of more effective enhancers is emerging. And it says modafinil, Ritalin, Adderall, and others in other families of memory improvers. So now Ritalin and Adderall and serotonin reuptake inhibitors, the antipsychotics, they are memory improvers. But once highly safe and effective cognitive enhancers are developed, as they almost surely will be, the question will arise whether they should be added to the water like fluoride or our cereals. It seems like with widespread population-level cognitive enhancement, it will be irresistible. And then he goes on to talk about making you do it. I mean, can you believe we're actually here talking about this? And you ask, how do they get these drugs in your water? between 150 to over 300 chemicals are mixed in with the fluoride. When you hear the term fluoride, go get a tour of your water facility if they fluoridate. And on the bag, it will list hundreds of chemicals. Lithium, mercury, lead. I mean, you think I'm joking? You thought I was joking when I had Dr. Blaylock, top brain surgeon, on last year about kids having a 10-plus increase in seizures and brain damage when they take the flu shot, and now it's the London Telegraph yesterday? I mean, if you think convulsions and cancer and brain damage and lower IQs and autism is an enhancement, why do they arrest parents that beat their kids in the head with hammers? And they're saying put all these drugs in. Statins, Ritalin, Prozac, Adderall, lithium. It's a dictatorship by Big Pharma. You noticed about half the ads on TV are Big Pharma? They've taken over. They're drug dealers. They're drug pushers. And now they want to make you take your drugs. They're not like a drug dealer trying to sell crack to kids on a schoolyard to get them addicted so they can have them go rob their parents' house the next week. They're actually putting it in your kids' food and water to get them addicted. They're coming out and acclimating you to the fact that they're already drugging your water, genetically designing the food to sterilize you to give you cancer. The sperm counts are down by 85%. The cancer rates are off the charts. The average Westerner has 1.3 children. The West is dying. The ultimate control is the control of fertility and life itself. This is the control freak Valhalla, the control freak Mecca, the control freak heaven. And we're better than these people. We can beat them, but we have to get angry and get focused and get informed. As good, decent, kind-hearted people, we have trouble admitting these type of horrors to ourselves. And now these little creepy spiders saddle up next to us and, hi, I'm your friend. I'm going to drug your water. It's going to be good. And if you don't like it, you can opt out with bottled water. Meanwhile, they move to block that. These people are so sick. And then anything truly beneficial, like topical or for a sore throat, colloidal silver, they try to block that. And I apologize to all these callers, Bruce, Anthony, Brian, Walt, Ronnie. We'll get to you tomorrow. I'll be back live. I'm just out of time for this hour, and it's exhausting to know the truth and to see the zombies all around me, the biological androids, obsessed with sitcoms and television and drama, and with Lindsay Lohan or with Mel Gibson, not knowing how hardcore history is and how dangerous corrupt elites are. Of course the global controllers that think there are too many of us and call us useless eaters are drugging the food and water. They've been caught over and over again. Of course the government admits now they grow the opium and ship most of the drugs in and only kill or arrest who doesn't pay their cut. Of course Goldman Sachs is running all the major federal regulators and stealing everything. Of course they want a global corporate private world government. They've bought up the world through fraud. Now they don't want us here. And they know we're waking up, so they've gone to their scientists they fund, and they said, how do you control them? And they said, you start shutting the web down, you use dirty tricks, you call anybody that criticizes you a racist, and you drug their water supply. And you pose as liberals so you can euthanize more than half the black people before they're born. And the black folks will call up and cheer you because you say you're liberal. You can murder these people. They call them useless eaters and weeds and everything else. And I got to watch all these mindless idiot groups out there. Look, I'm not a weed. My life has value. My children have value. And you have no right putting your hands on them, you degenerate scum. And I want the police and military to wake up and to awaken and to realize what's going on and to get angry and to get focused and to start warning everyone. You need to read Ecoscience. You need to watch Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement. You need to go read Oxford Professor Calls for Drugging Water Supply. Right when the show ends, we're going to post this new article with all the mainstream news, New York Times, This Freak, and others promoting drugging your water. Fox News promoting it. And get the video I made last week that's had close to 300,000 views. That's nothing. It needs to be 300 million views. Send it to your whole email list, everyone. Food, the ultimate secret. And I'm going to do a part 2 on all the chemicals and the things in the water very, very soon.